So today we have Joe, Nico, and Alec on the stage. Nico is the designer of Stablecoin. Joe is our tech coordinator, one of our co-founders as well. Alec is the partner of business development, and we're really glad to have you all here on the stage to do our weekly AMA. Before we get started, we're going to start with some really great news that we just got listed on FTX. It literally just got announced like 1 or 2 hours ago, so we're really excited about this. Second good news is that our total supply on the USDS front has surpassed 20. It's reaching 21 mil right now. Total value locked in USDS is approaching 20 million. So really good numbers. Lastly, in terms of community, we've opened 2 local language channels, German and Dutch, and we're opening a Korean language channel today as well. So that is pretty much it. And yeah, I'm really excited about the listing, guys. So today we're here to talk about the auto yield. Before we get started, in case you're new to the protocol, there's a little brief rundown about what Sperax is. We were launched in 2020 and we're headquartered in New York City. So in December 2021, we released our stablecoin USDS on layer 2 Arbitrum. Residing on chain, USDS is backed by Collateral and algorithmically by protocol stability to mint $1 worth of SPA, which is our governance token, when redeeming $1 worth of USDS. So the USDS combines the scalability benefits of algo stablecoin with the stability benefits of collateralized stablecoin. And this is a really important part that helps us differentiate ourselves among other stablecoins, is that USDS holders benefit from native auto yield, which is the first in the industry. It means that holders automatically earn yield without having to stake or claim. Where does this yield coming from? It is generated organically from the collaterals deployed on external DeFi protocols like Curve Finance. So in the future, our roadmap is to construct a full stack DeFi ecosystem based on USDS. As the US ecosystem expands through organic and partnership growth, the team plans to vitalize the L1 conceived during the company's incipient stage. If you remember, we're still working on a BDLS consensus protocol. We're backed by Polychain, Jump Trading, Alameda Research, Amber, and DJ Steve Aoki. So that is about our brief background. Let's dive right into the auto yield theme today. So I walk people through about what Sperax USD is. Is there anything else that we would like to complement about the basic concept of our stablecoin, Nico?
I think you did a pretty good job covering the key aspects. I can reiterate them one more time just to make sure everyone in the community gets the idea. So USDS is partially backed by external collateral, which for now consists of other stablecoins, but we plan to add volatile collateral in the future as well. And on top of that, it's backed algorithmically by our own governance token, SPA. What that model does is that it guarantees effectively that at any given point in time, someone can mint one USDS for $1 worth of crypto or can redeem USDS for $1 worth of crypto. Both of those things happening on chain. And the innovation is that being a hybrid stablecoin, we can adapt based on market conditions to what extent we rely on the algorithmic stabilization via SPA versus external stabilization via collateral. So that's a dynamic thing that changes based on market conditions. So when USDS is breaking the peg upwards, then we expect the algorithmic component to take over much more. But on the downside, if USDS trades below $1, then the crypto component will take on and the crypto will become less algo based. Now the interesting thing with our current design is that we have collateral that we are able to deploy to generate yield for our users, and that's what we do at the moment. So we pull together about 90% of the collateral, and at this stage we deposit it on Curve Finance to generate yield for the stablecoin holders. As the project evolves, we plan to add more collateral as well as more investment strategies, which eventually are going to be multi-chain as well. That's a general overview.
Sounds good. Okay, so how exactly the yield is automated from the engineering perspective, Joe? Like how exactly the users will receive their yield?
For the user, it's really simple. You do nothing. Basically, check your balance. You do nothing. We handle all of the process. So, right? And yeah, or you you want me to dive into like the detail about how we handle the process?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah. So basically, first we generate a random randomness off chain to determine the next rebase time. So it will be in average once per 1 week or 2 week. Then after determining the time, and then we just calculate how many USDs circulating, how many USDs are in EOA wallets. Because for now, before the next upgrade, only EOA wallets can receive the passive income or auto yield. I mean, whichever you prefer to say, right? So we also calculate, so it's the percentage of the EOA USDS balance over the total balance. So this will be the proportion we will give the reward, right? And then we have a target APY about 11%. So we need to calculate how many USDS reward we need to distribute, right? Then we calculate all the parameters. Then we set the parameter. And then we just call the function. Then so we will first harvest all the yield we generated on curve. Then part of the yield will go to the EOA USDS token holders. And the rest of it will go to I think we already published the address, a layer 2 reserve where we just collect all the CRV tokens for future use. So that's pretty much the process. And for the user, you do nothing. You check your balance every now and then.
I see. And right now we're looking at an auto yield around 12%.
11% APY. That's the aim.
Got it.
Yeah, to add an extra layer into what Joe just mentioned, at the moment, only USDS holders are able to receive the yield, so you have to have USDS idle in your wallet. Of course, this will change. As we said, we plan to have an upgrade in the near future where whitelisted smart contracts will be able to receive the yield as an extra incentive, as an extra bonus, for instance, for liquidity providers or in borrowing and lending protocols. It will have like really versatile applications, that yield component. But for now, it's only the holders who get it. And all the excess yield we generate above 11% is effectively being stored in the form of CRV tokens to be used in the future to either further stabilize the yield or to participate in the care wars. It's going to be something that the governance will determine at an appropriate day. But for now, it's going to be an extra reserve of funds we have on the side to stabilize the yield in case the external yield is less than 11%.
Got it. Thank you so much. Alec, I do have a roadmap related question for you. I know I mentioned at the beginning of the AMA thing that the ecosystem expense will be based on organic circulation, also partnership growth. Do we have any news regarding partnership or to boost the USDS use cases?
Yeah. Well, I can give an update on the saddle farm. So we have, I think it's the third deepest liquidity of all pools across all chains for that application. So users today can go mint USDS, and they have a couple options. They can just sit back and relax with the auto yield, or they can go send it over to Saddle. And the APY on Saddle today is over 25%. So it's a very cool way to collect SPA. So say you're bullish on SPA, but you don't really know about the whole market. You can park your stable coins in Saddle and then start collecting SPA and SDL rewards. So it's a really cool opportunity, and that would help us from a liquidity standpoint. So we can unlock even more borrowing and lending use cases and exciting new structured products that would require deep liquidity. So in addition to that, our liquidity levels today are adequate to do things like list as collateral for perpetuals. So we're working closely with Tracer to get that up and running. So stay tuned for official announcements there. And then additionally, on the partnership front, we recently inked a deal with Transact. So what we're going to do in the coming weeks is offer a direct purchasing button right on app.sperax.io that allows a user to connect their bank account or connect, their credit card or debit card, and then instantaneously they'll be deposited SPA or USDS directly into their Arbitrum wallet. So they don't have to worry about bridging, none of that. We really think it's going to be kind of the final piece to the puzzle for the newer users to get exposure to USDS and start harnessing the power of DeFi. So we're very excited about that.
This is indeed very exciting. It almost feel like breaking the fourth wall. That's happening into the real world. I do have one question for on behalf of the users. Is there any regional restrictions for people to use Transact?
Yeah, so Americans are going to have limited use for the first couple of weeks, but don't worry, we've thought of solutions. So we still have a more mechanical way of doing it for Americans. So Americans get to buy ETH directly deposited, and then it'll automatically swap for USDS. So it'll be slightly different, but we're building a clever workaround to enable the same experience for Americans in the short term as well.
Sounds good. I have one more questions before we dive into the community questions. Is that speaking of the Settle Farm, speaking of the SPA holders, what does the USDS auto yield going live mean for the SPA holders? Any correlation between these two populations?
Maybe Nicolas, you might be the best to talk about the burn and then the rev split.
Yes. So the main benefit when it comes to the auto yield feature being live is that it makes USDS significantly more attractive to hold. So we expect as people familiarize themselves with that feature, USDS adoption will grow. That in turn means that more SPA tokens will have to be burned for USDS tokens to be minted to accommodate the increase in demand. On top of that, with the introduction of the VSPA model, we will be adding a profit sharing parameter, which means that SPA stakers will be able to capture a fraction of the yield generated from the USDS collateral in the form of SPA buybacks that will be given back to the SPA stakers. So that yield feature is going to be a core principle of the value accrual mechanism for SPA holders directly in the future. Now it's more indirectly via the burn mechanism that will come with the increased demand in USDS.
Got it. Thank you. That is very straightforward. Okay, let's go straight into community questions. We have a bunch. First one is by M.A. Dean. Is there any exciting pool to stake SPA tokens to get rewarded? Any plan to have multi-language channels on Discord for all the communities? I can answer a second one. Is anyone willing to take the first question regarding the pool?
So right now, if you want to stake SPA, the main pool is a vanilla-based inflation pool we have within our DApp that gives anywhere between from 6 to 12% APY when you stake your SPA tokens. On top of that, we had launched some SPA USDS liquidity pools that had a much higher APY in the range of to 50%. And for the future, we will be launching the VSPA staking model within the quarter. The code is ready and is being reviewed and audited at the moment. So then we're going to launch the official staking farm via the VSPA, where the APY is expected to be much higher than the current farm, and it's going to be driven in a more organic manner via SPA buybacks.
Sounds good. Regarding multi-language channels, I mentioned at the beginning of the AMA that we currently have Dutch and German, and Jennifer, our Korean marketing manager, will open a Korean channel as well very soon. Following is Spiral. The guy has two questions. First is, what other protocols except Curve do you consider for generating auto yield? Second, USDC collateralization in what percentage with time can go down by design? Will auto yield percentage go down with time too, in parallel with collateralization percentage decrease? Nico?
I can take that. Yeah, when it comes to the first question about acceptable eligible collateral, it's going to be decided via DAO when the V model is out. But I have a strong preference to add more decentralized stablecoins. So ideally, we would love to have an integration with USD and Frax. They are both decentralized, censorship resistant, and produce pretty good yield. They have good investment opportunities. So my priority would be to target other decentralized stables as collateral, as well as the main volatile cryptocurrencies such as wrapped Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think that answered that. What was the second question?
Will auto yield percentage go down with time as well in parallel with collateral?
That's an excellent question. So as the token matures, we expect the algo rate to become more and more significant, all else equal. So the collateral ratio will decline over time. Right now, it's calibrated to decline at a bit less than 1% a month, but we're strongly considering to reduce the rate of convergence to make sure that the auto yield stays at competitive levels, at least like for the first few years of our growth.
Next question, do you have any plan to participate in crypto Expo Dubai? Honestly, we're pretty packed this year in terms of sponsorship and physical events. We're going to Consensus in June. Before that, there's a permissionless hosted by Blockworks in May, and also Mainnet hosted by Masar in September. I think that is pretty much it. Do you have any of the not yet announced partnerships and what collaborations are mostly proud of? Alec has already covered that, which is the Transact, which will offer people to directly deposit to participate in our farms. Cody.
It's a fiat on ramp. That's yeah. Transact is a fiat on and off ramp.
Tony asked, when yield from USDs plus getting yield by parking USDs at protocols such as Saddle? Anyone would like to take this one?
I can take this one. So basically, our current approach is we will, for say, each DeFi protocol where you put the USDS as a collateral, say Saddle, say you provide USDS as liquidity to Saddle, right? So we will launch a farm associate, or we call it a farm. I mean, maybe a better name. So we launch a farm associate with that DeFi protocol, say in this case Saddle. And after you stake your USDS in Saddle, you get back your LP token, right? So in our farm, you stake this LP token to the farm, which is associated with Saddle. And based on the share of the LP, which indicates your share in the liquidity pool, right? We will redirect all the reward to this farm. And then you can claim your auto reward from this farm. This will be the solution we have for the USDS reward. And what's the progress now? We already finalized on the design. We are now writing out the specification. So after we launch VE Spot by this month, we will start working on the farm. So that'd be the next thing we're gonna launch.
And effectively, all whitelisted smart contracts will be able to receive yield. So strategic partnerships will be able to be subsidized, not just via SPY emissions, but also by USDS yield. We think that's going to give us a strong competitive advantage relative to other models because we can subsidize incentives without diluting our governance token.
Something worth noting is that this will be all determined via SPA stakers. So once you stake your SPA, you'll be able to determine things, key parameters, including which partner contracts can be whitelisted for that incentive. So it's another economic lever in which VE SPA holders can control to basically function as kind of like a monetary policy, to determine who and where this yield can go from a partnership standpoint.
Next question from the Alchemist. First question, the great use of the auto yield from USDS will be to refract the yield to other purposes automatically. For example, DCA into other coins, sent to different wallet addresses, etc. Are there any plans for automation tools to split and use the yield? Second question is, one great use of USDS will be to be able to spend the yield via a debit card. It is something you're thinking about in the future or working with any potential third-party partners on this?
That's a great question and pretty much in line with exactly what we're thinking at the moment. So we actually plan to create structured products where people will be able to have principal protected investments using the yield. So effectively, people will deposit USDS in a contract. It's principal protected because the actual USDS never leaves the contract. And then the yield generated will just be reinvested in other applications. An interesting area where we're really excited about is to allow users to bet on market movement with leverage exposure using the yield. So effectively, someone will be able to get a really, really high leverage position with that yield. The upside is infinite. The downside is just zero yield. So it's going to be a principal protected product that will allow a high leverage exposure on the yield component for the average user. So it will allow users to gamble on the position of the market, on the movement of the market, while also ensuring that their principal is protected, because the gamble would only be generated from the excess yield that USDS will create. And along those lines, we could further automate that and allow users to have some form of DCA of a specific set of cryptos or a basket of cryptos using the yield. And that's pretty much in line with the products we're actively working on at the moment. On top of that, when it comes to using a debit card for fiat off-ramp, it's a really good idea, but I won't lie, we're not there yet. Like, we just secured our very first fiat on and off-ramp partnership. It will take, I think, a little bit longer before we get a debit card integration, but really, really interesting idea.
Great, thank you. Next question, I think the guy is trying to ask a comparison between traditional yield aggregator and our auto compounding strategy. We already covered that. Following question, does farming on other projects really present a problem we don't know about? I don't think that is relevant. Following, hackers are very active in the market. How safe are the funds of the investor? Yeah?
So my connection froze. I didn't hear the question.
Oh, no. The questions are, I think they're kind of repetitive. We covered them already. Okay, next question is the payout APY based on annually or by a different time frame, like monthly or semi-annually? Also, is SP still burn even if you buy USDS from an exchange?
I can take that. First of all, no, for USDS to be minted, to be burned, this is only an on-chain transaction. This happens in situation where when the price of USDS goes to more than $1. In a situation like that, users will have a direct incentive to mint more USDS, which will lead to spam burning, and sell them to pocket like the price difference. So effectively, for minting and burning to happen, someone will have to interact directly with the Sperax protocol. Other transactions do not really matter. And what was the first part of the question? Oh, about the auto yield. The auto yield is annualized. It's the number we present is the annualized figure of the interest rate generated, of the interest generated.
Okay.
And
good.
it's being rebased once to twice a week in a random manner.
Great. Follow-up question from Nim Sarah 2002. What features differentiate USDS from any other stablecoin? Well, we're the first auto yield stablecoin on layer 2. Second question is value publicly audited? Yes, we are. How can users trust its stability? I think you can check out our audit report, which is available on our website. Kalim Abdul. Nowadays, there are numerous postulations and theories about an ideal stablecoin that works, and your stablecoin will attempt to avoid over-collateralization inefficiency of other crypto collateralized stablecoins by partially, he's just explaining how we work. But one characteristic of everyday crypto is volatility. How will this external crypto pool be determined, and how can they ensure stability when they are not even stable themselves? Also, how will your governance token SPA ensures the algorithmic stabilization of the money supply for USDS?
That's a really good question. So it's more of a hypothetical for now, because most of our collateral at the moment is stablecoin. All of our collateral at the moment is stablecoin. But as I said, we plan to introduce volatile collateral. So we have set up a mechanism within the protocol to be able to sustain stability, even if the TVL fluctuates a lot. Effectively, what's going to happen is that, let's say we're collateralized mostly by Bitcoin, and Bitcoin drops a lot in value. Then the protocol will do its best to reach a higher collateral level ratio. And it will do that in two different ways. it will require more upfront collateral whenever someone wants to mint USDs, and it will preserve more of the collateral whenever someone wants to redeem USDs. So effectively, the protocol will always try to reach an ideal collateralization ratio, even if the underlying collateral is volatile. We have this mechanism in place that will slowly converge the protocol towards the target. But for now, that's not much of a risk because all the collateral consists of stablecoins. I think I answered the question. Was there any other part of that question that I missed? It was quite big.
I think that's pretty much it. The first question is, how can we maintain stable if we're collateralizing on volatile crypto? Second is how SPA ensures the stabilization of the money supply. For
Yeah,
us.
and SPA effectively acts as a buffer when it comes to redemption. So if the protocol does not have enough collateral, it will mint a bit more SPA to meet redemptions. And at the same time, SPA is being burned at a high rate whenever new USDS is being minted. So from a net perspective, as long as USDS is growing, this design guarantees that SPA will become more and more deflationary. At the same time, though, we have the external collateral to make sure that in case of a crisis or of a panic-driven event, there is an actual floor when it comes to the USDS price. And at the moment, the algorithmic component is less than 10%. So the vast majority of USDS is explicitly collateralized by other stablecoins.
Okay. Nimsara 2002 said regarding the financial layer that Sperax introduced that includes marketing through stablecoins. I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but do you plan to incorporate an option that the tokens of these projects can acquire through your ecosystem recognition and support from the community to help them grow? I think kind of misunderstood about our position right now. We are a DeFi project, not a layer one infrastructure project. So we currently do not have an ecosystem like Avalanche, like Solana, that kind of an ecosystem, but we're building our own product. Second question, high yield on stablecoin is predominantly captured by those with both financial and technical expertise to put their stablecoins to work in DeFi. So with people who are not good at technical or financial expertise, how could they earn passive income with USDS auto yield? This is a great question because as you said it yourself, USDS yield is generated automatically. So you don't no technical or financial expertise is required at all. You basically just see the number accrued in your balance. That's simple as it is. Do you consider for adding new collateral and deploying them on cross-chain for increasing auto yield? Any answer to this one?
Yes, that's within our roadmap. After we finalize the VSPA staking model and the yield distribution mechanism for smart contracts, we will be tackling multi-chain, and we are already in discussions with some major layer one projects that will help us expand our multi-chain strategy with joint incentives as well as local deployment on other chains.
Okay, got it. Next question is, I think it's about fiat on-ramp. The guy sees a lot of issues need to be made clear, such as barriers about policies, regulations for fiat gateways in some countries. Second, education, how to approach train market auto yield to users who have been using traditional ways, such as saving deposit and bonds. Lastly, TVL in USDS right now is almost 20 million. How to make sure it is always up and your strategy if cash flow moves to a new trend suddenly. Alec, do you think you can answer this one?
Yeah, I can at least tackle the first one. So the question was around regulation, and I presume the key point there is know your customer compliance. So through the fiat on-ramp, Transact, part of their regulatory compliance processes, will require anyone using the platform who is, I think, purchasing over $1,000 worth to do a KYC process. That process is not done by Sperax. It is done by Transact. And then once you do that through Transact, your assets are airdropped directly into your MetaMask. So at that point, you're back in DeFi. But in order to use that fiat on-ramp, you will have to comply with Transact's KYC compliance. And then when it comes to, this user base who's familiar with just capturing traditional yield from savings accounts or maybe bonds, that is the exact motivation behind getting the fiat on-ramp. So this user is probably okay with KYC compliance. So now they simply go to app.sperax.io, they type in their bank information and through Transact's secure portal, and then they simply add to their balance. Once they're ready to withdraw, they can withdraw through Transact as well. So we want to make this experience as familiar to this user base as possible. And there's this clever term that we find kind of humorous and we use it internally here. I have to give credit to Bankless for it, but it's called the DeFi mullet. So what we're doing is creating an experience that feels just like a bank savings account on the front end, but on the back end, it's powered by DeFi rails and powered by auto yield. So it's going to feel very similar to your regular banking experience, but you're going to capture the high APR and APY available from the decentralized finance ecosystem. So we anticipate that user having a fairly seamless experience when using Sperax saving products. And I can't remember the third question.
Third question is how to make sure the TVL is always up, and what if the capital moves to a new trend suddenly?
Yeah, sure. So, we're firm believers that this notion of non-volatile savings products will be very popular. So as long as the Sperax team and the Sperax community can really build an attractive auto yield APR by optimizing for that rate and continuing onboarding new collateral types and optimizing those deployment strategies, we believe the auto yield will be an extremely compelling factor just for savers. And then also, as we've begun to mention, there's lots of opportunity to integrate USDs at the infrastructure level. So that's where we're working with DeFi protocols to continue to drive TVL that way. So DeFi integrations, custom Sperax products, as well as just passive saving are three primary pillars for growing TVL.
Sounds good.
Great. And worth mentioning that the main driver of that, which is the automatic yield, the APY, is organic. It's determined in the external DeFi market. Is not something that we heavily subsidize temporarily and is going to blow over later. So that's a differentiating feature when it comes, at least in my view, to our long-term prospect, that we're basing everything on something that is long-term sustainable.
Perfect. Following question by Kalim. I follow you since the beginning you launched the Sperax project. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. How can I explain why your team changed your stablecoin S-coin to USDs? Because we're trying to emphasize that our stablecoin, the dollar, the worth of the stablecoin can be pegged to USD. So we make the name to manifest this feature as clearly as possible. So, and in the future, we might roll out like Quan USD, Euro S, Quan S, all versions of our stablecoin in different regions.
We do have another name. I almost forgot. I mean, what's the first name?
S-coin.
S-coin. Yeah.
This is so nostalgic. I almost forgot that name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Okay, next question. USDS offers a dynamic interest rate that is determined as a function of the aggregate collateral ratio and the collateral composition. The interest is generated by investing and further. Okay, apart from this, what other plans have been set aside for the rapid adoption of USDS and SPA token? Anyone would like to talk about more upcoming products?
So as I mentioned at the beginning of the talk, we plan to create products that will utilize the yield component of USDS and automate an investment strategy based on the yield component. So people will be able to get principal protected exposure in a wide range of strategies. just by depositing their USDs on a smart contract. On top of it, we have a couple of really interesting partnerships that we plan to launch, where our yield feature will be utilized as one of the key primitives to drive action. And yeah, I don't know if I missed anything. Alec can maybe add some extra flavor on that.
Alec, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can speak to one other recent conversation that we've been having that I'm very keen on. I can't give too much detail on it right now, but the general experience is going to be deposit blue chip assets and earn free cash flow in USDS. So through a smart contract vault, what it will do is watch the collateralization ratio of your underlying assets. So this might be your Ether, and it will auto readjust your outstanding loan in order to produce a safe yet lucrative vault. So you can keep exposure to, say, Ether, but you'll be earning free cash flow in the form of USDS. So this strategy in traditional finance is called portable alpha, and we'll be deploying our flavor of such a strategy in a very easy to access automated way, just like the onboard or the automated auto yield feature. So it's going to be automating some pretty complex strategies, but we think it's going to be very attractive for the newer user who might be intimidated by doing things like taking loans against Ether and all of that. So we're going to automate it, make it super safe and super lucrative. So stay tuned for more details on that.
Sounds good. We just have like 3-4 questions left. What mechanism will USDS team deploy to avoid impermanent loss and APY fluctuations in the liquidity mining in cases of putting the interest from the auto yield in the pool? Anyone would like to take this one, Nico?
I don't think that I don't completely understand the question the way it's phrased, but I think I already mentioned that the yield feature, the auto yield feature, will be utilized to subsidize partnerships in the future. So liquidity providers will be able to capture part of the yield to get some extra APY on top of the trading fees and emissions. So this will be something that we will be deploying, but these SPA holders are going to be the ones who will decide which smart contracts are eligible to receive the auto yield versus which smart contracts cannot receive it. So it's going to be subject to governance in the end.
Yep.
I think the question might have been around because if I understand correctly, like in the event that the auto yield got deposited directly into the pool, it might throw off the weights of the pool. But I think the answer, is that. You want to answer that?
Yeah. So the way we're going to do it is that the auto yield will be given as additional rewards from the liquidity providers. We will make sure that the relative supply within the pool will be unchanged with the distribution of the yield. So we won't be changing the relative size of the pool via the auto yield. It's going to be something we'll be giving as rewards outside of the pool.
Sounds good. Do you have any of the not yet announced partnerships or collaborations are mostly proud of? Alec has already covered that. Second to the last question, I'm very new to crypto and still learning my way around DeFi. Can you please explain in very simple words what Sperax is about? Unfortunately, I already covered that at the beginning of the AMA. You can check out our official website to learn more about it. About security and user interface, how do you provide the most secure Oracle solutions? What protocols partners are you working with for this purpose? Is your platform suitable for newbies in the crypto field? Alec, do we have any Oracle integration partnership to be announced?
So as we go cross-chain, we're working closely with Chainlink to do our cross-chain communication protocol. But when it comes to the current solution, maybe Joe, you could shed some light on the current status.
Yeah, of course. So basically, we now the USDS use Chainlink, and I think also for cross-chain, we just talked to Chainlink last week. They will came up with the customized solution for USDS cross-chain communication. So that'd be great. And also, I think previously for the farm we used DIA. So I think Chainlink and DIA, and mostly Chainlink. That's our choice.
Got it. Thank you. Before we get into the final, not last but not the least, surprise announcement, could Joe, Nico, and Alec, you all each pick the best question in your mind so we can announce the Sperax CM Pro for next week?
Yeah, for me, it was the Alchemist with the question about the use cases of refracting the yield. Yeah, I'll pick the Alchemist.
Okay.
Is it like the gift is 500 spot?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot. I'll choose the question about how to get the auto yield on saddle. So question about when we gonna launch a upgrade on like user can still get the auto reward even though they provide the liquidity. The saddle question.
I don't remember anyone has actually asked about Settle.
No. Like one question is about like how can I still get the auto yield even though I'm provide USDS to Saddle? I think there's one question about that.
Okay. I can find it. Alec?
Yep.
Yeah, I would love to pick the user who was asking about the name, because if he was bringing up S-Coin, he's been around here for a while. So I love that blast from the past.
Yeah.
We forgot S-Coin.
Yeah.
The final announcement is that I would like to congrats to. One second, let me just pull this out. Peter for nominating Spartan as our new community name, and then it leads the vote by 45. Second following is the Sperax 41. So we will start designing our mascot around Spartan the names, and we will issue the reward to you, Peter. Thank you for coming up with this really innovative idea. And here's a check for you.
Let's go, Spartans.
Go.
Cool.
Okay, thank you all. If you have any questions, feel free to find us on Discord. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. Peace.